raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down and be seated. Well, please speak into the microphone, state your full name, and spell your last name for the record.
Marlon Osborne, Osborne.
Good afternoon, doctor. What is your occupation?
Good afternoon. My occupation is I'm an associate medical examiner at the Palm Beach County Medical Examiner's Office.
Okay, could you briefly tell us about your educational background?
I graduated from Rutgers College with a BA in biology. I then attended Rutgers New Jersey Medical School and got an MD degree. After that, I attended Hahnemann, H-A-H-N-E-M-A-N-N, University Hospital, Drexel College of Medicine pathology program. After which I did a one-year fellowship at the Miami-Dade Medical Examiner's Office in forensic pathology. And since following that fellowship, I worked for 5 years at the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office. Following those 5 years, I worked at the Broward County Medical Examiner's Office, and I've been at the Palm Beach County Medical Examiner's Office for 3 years.
Okay. Are you licensed to practice medicine?
Yes, I am.
Where?
In Florida.
Okay. A member of any, have any board certifications?
Yes, in anatomic pathology and forensic pathology.
Okay. Have you, how many autopsies have you performed?
Well over 2,500.
Okay. And then of those 2,500 autopsies, have you been able to determine the cause of death?
Yes.
And of those 2,500 approximately autopsies, how many were as a result of gunshot wounds, approximately?
Somewhere over 200, I would say.
Okay. And have you ever testified in a court of record as a forensic pathologist?
Yes, I have.
Approximately how many times?
Well over 120 times at this point.
Okay. And in what courts?
Philadelphia, Miami, Broward, Palm Beach counties.
Okay. Dr. Osborne, did there come an occasion on Thursday, February the 15th, 2018, you performed several autopsies?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I'd like to show you now State's Exhibits 22D, 22C, 22B, 22A, 21Z, 21Y, 21X, 21W, and 21V like in Victor. And ask you, Dr. Osborne, would you please take a look at these exhibits and see if you can identify them, please, sir.
Yes, I can.
And did you perform that autopsy on that young lady?
Yes, I did.
And that is Helena Ramsey?
Yes, it is.
Would these photographs help you to explain the nature of the injuries to the court and to the jury?
Yes.
And would these exhibits, these photographs, aid you in explaining to the court and to the jury the manner and cause of death of Helena Ramsey?
Yes.
Okay. All right, at this time, I'd like to offer these exhibits. I think Mr. Support already seen them, right? Yes, sir.
Okay, does the defense have any objection to the admission of these photographs?
Just going to incorporate all grounds and arguments in DMIL 12. Thank you.
Okay, over the defense objection, 21B, like Victor, will be received as 402. 21W will be received as 403. 21X, like X-ray, will be received as 404. 21Y will be received as 405. 21Z, like Zebra, will be received as 406. 22A, like Alpha, will be received as 407. 22B, like Bravo, will be received as 408. 22C, like Charlie, will be received as 409. 22D, like Delta, will be received as 410.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Dr. Osborne, as the clerk is marking those exhibits, could you tell us the age, weight, and height of Helena Ramsey?
If I may refer to my...
Please.
Miss Ramsey was 17 years old, and she had a height that was 66 inches and 136 pounds.
Okay. And I'm showing you State's Exhibit 207 that's already been introduced in evidence. Recognize her?
Yes,
That's Helena Ramsey?
yes.
Okay, Dr. Osborne, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit marked 402. And that's labeled H. Could you explain that for us, that wound?
Yes, this wound is on the back of the right side of her head. It goes through the scalp, enters the, fractures these bones of the skull, enters the calvarium, which is where the brain is housed. It causes hemorrhages along and around the brain, lacerations and contusions to the brain, and exits the left side of the forehead.
Okay, I'm showing you State's Exhibit marked 403. Is that the exit wound you're talking about?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And would that wound be lethal?
Yes, it would.
Okay. Showing you State's Exhibit marked 404. 405, I'm sorry. Could you explain what that shows?
This is showing Miss Ramsey's left side, the left side of her face. You can see the previous wound described as A on the left side of the forehead. Wound D is on the lateral aspect of the left shoulder. There's a wound B on the left side of the chest, and a wound C on the right side of the chest.
Okay. Could you tell us about wound B?
B as in boy?
Yes, B, I'm sorry.
Wound B is an irregular wound on the right side of the chest that goes through the skin and pectoralis muscles, and fragments of a projectile were recovered from within the muscles, the pectoralis muscles.
Okay. And how about wound D?
Wound D is an entrance wound on the lateral aspect of the left shoulder. It goes through the muscles of the left arm and exits on a wound that will be shown later as E on the inside of the left upper arm.
Okay, and how about wound C?
Wound C is an irregular ballistic defect that has a very short wound tract, and no projectiles were recovered from that wound. It only goes into the superficial layers of the pectoralis muscle, just under the skin.
All right, and I'm showing you now State's Exhibit 406.
406 shows the exit wound, E, that corresponds to D, the entrance wound previously described on her left shoulder.
Okay. And what is above the E at her armpit? Do you see that?
Yes, this is an associated abrasion, likely associated when the bullet exited E. It hit the skin and caused an abrasion.
Okay.
That's what we're seeing on the inside of the armpit.
Okay. And State's Exhibit State's Exhibit 407. Wound G.
Wound G is on the lateral aspect of the right leg. It's an entrance wound. And the exit is on the medial aspect of the right thigh.
Okay. And showing you State's Exhibit 458.
And that is wound F. The exit wound for G.
Okay. And showing you 409. Is that a close-up of that wound?
Yes, it is.
And why is that wound so much bigger than the entrance wound?
When you have gunfire from a rifle, there's a larger amount of energy that's produced because of the velocity of the speed of the bullet, and so it creates a larger temporary cavity, and the exit wounds are usually larger in size than the entry wounds when shot from a distance.
Okay. And showing you State's Exhibit looks like 410.
Yes, those are the fragments collected from the wound labeled B on the left side of the chest.
Okay. And were you able to determine the cause of death of Helena Ramsey?
Yes, gunshot wound of head.
Gunshot wound to the head.
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Osborne. I'm going to show you now, Doctor, for identification 21S, 21R, 21Q, 21O, 21N, 21P, 21M, 21L, 21K, 21J, 21I. And ask you, Doctor, if you would examine these exhibits and tell me if you recognize them.
Yes.
Okay. And do they truly and accurately depict the autopsy you performed on Gina Montaldo
Yes, they do.
Thursday, February the 15th, 2018?
Yes.
And would these exhibits aid you in explaining to the court and to the jury the nature of Gina Montaldo's wounds?
Yes.
And would these photographs, these exhibits, aid you in explaining to the court and to the jury the manner and cause of death of Gina Montaldo?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Your Honor, at this time, the state would offer the previous exhibits read into the record.
Defense to the objection.
Rejection on all grounds regarding B and MIL 12. Thank you.
Okay, so noted, thank you. Over the defense objection, the exhibits will be received as follows. 21I will be received as 411, 21J 412, 21K 413, 21L 414, 21M as in Mary 415, 21N like Nancy 416, 21O 417 417, 21P as in Paul 418, 21Q 419, 21R 420, and 21S like Sam 421.
Dr. Osborne, while the clerk is marking those exhibits, could you give us the age and the height and weight of Gina Montaldo?
If I may refer.
Sure, please.
Miss Montalto was 14 years old. She was 65 inches tall and weighed 108 pounds.
Okay. I'm showing you State's Exhibit 101. Is that Gina Montaldo?
Yes, it is.
Dr. Osborne, I'm going to show you the State's Exhibit now, 411. And you have an A there next to what appears to be a wound. Could you explain that to us, please, sir?
We are looking at the anterior aspect of the left shoulder of Ms. Montalto. And here you can see the...
You can use one of the colors, and if you want to do the telestrator. That's it.
The entrance gunshot wound of the left shoulder. It goes through the area of the left shoulder. It fractures the left scapula and exits on wound F.
Okay. And what did it go through?
It went through the deltoid muscle and the scapula, which is the wing-shaped bone on the back.
Okay. And here states Exhibit 412. And you said F was the exit.
Yes, that's the corresponding exit.
Okay. And that's the exit for wound A?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you State's Exhibit marked 413. And you have a B there.
Yes, this is on the anterior aspect of the chest towards the left side. It's a large wound with seared edges from the 6 o'clock to the 12 o'clock position. This wound goes through the left fifth intercostal space, fractures the left fifth rib anteriorly. It goes into the pericardium and obliterates the apex and the anterior left wall of the left ventricle. It exits the posterior wall of the left ventricle and then goes through the left fifth intercostal space posteriorly to end up in the back muscles.
Okay. And when you, pericardium, that's the heart?
That's the sac that covers the heart.
Okay. And is this wound B fatal in itself?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now you talked about the seared edges. What do you mean?
This purple-black discoloration from the 6 o'clock position along to the 12 o'clock position, it's a characteristic of the wounds, and we use those to give us an idea of how far the end of the gun was from the decedent when it was fired. When we have the end of the gun intimately touching the skin or almost touching the skin, you can have transfer of gases and the heat from the end of the gun, causing abrasions around the actual wound itself. When a gun is fired, rifle or handgun, not only the bullet leaves the end of the gun, you have the gases that are expressed from the combustion causing the bullet to be propelled through the barrel of the gun. Also, you have particles of burnt gunpowder that exit, as well as unburnt particles from inside the barrel of the gun and gunpowder. So if the burnt particles hit the skin, they can leave behind a black or grayish stain, which we call soot. Burning particles, if they hit the skin, can cause small abrasions around the wound itself, and that's called stipple. So the further you are away from the end of the gun, the more likely you are to see some of these characteristics. So if the gun is touching the skin, it can maybe only leave just a searing and an abrasion. You go out a few inches to a couple of feet, you may see soot and or stipple. Beyond a certain point, depending upon the gun, the type of ammo, the gun, you'll see different patterns, but at some point you won't see anything at all. So then we call those wounds we can't tell how far the end of the gun was from the decedent.
So on this wound B, in your opinion, this is a contact wound?
This will be contact or close contact through clothing. Okay.
Even though somebody would be wearing clothes, you could still get the contact wound like that, right?
You can get the heat transfer that would cause the abrasion and searing if it's intimately close.
Okay. And that's what this wound B shows, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now showing you State's Exhibit Mark 414. You have a C there.
C is a wound on the left side of the upper abdomen. It too has a seared abrasion collar, nearly circumferentially, which is all around the wound itself. This wound goes through the abdominal wall. It perforates the left lobe of the liver. It perforates the stomach. It goes through her spleen and perforates her left kidney, and goes through the back muscles to be just beneath the area designated as G on the left side of the back, where a bullet is recovered.
Okay. And I'm going to show you now State's Exhibit 415. Could you explain? It's a close-up of wound C. The searing you're talking about?
This and faint muzzle abrasion is the area here, just outside the edges of the wound.
And what's that indicate to you?
That the end of the gun, the muzzle, was in contact through clothing to the skin.
Okay. Another contact wound.
Contact through clothing, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And I'll show you now State's Exhibit marked 417.
That is a wound labeled D on the back of the right hand here. And that goes through, fractures the bones in the middle of the hand, and exits on the palm of the right hand. Wound E.
All right. Do you know what's a defensive wound?
Wounds that are defensive are considered wounds on parts of the body that someone would use to defend themselves from any kind of incoming attack. So they could be wounds on parts of the extremities, from the hands to the forearms to even the upper arm, depending upon how that limb could be placed in front of other parts of the body, mostly the torso, where the vital organs are, to protect itself from incoming assault.
So if somebody put their hand up like this?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 417.
That's the exit wound E for the entrance wound D that was previously described.
Okay. And State's Exhibit 418, and I think you mentioned exit wound G before.
Well, G is a slight contusion and dippling of the skin, which a bullet was recovered from, and that is the corresponding bullet for the entrance wound C on the abdomen.
Okay, and F?
F, again, is the exit wound for the entrance wound on the anterior aspect of the left shoulder, A.
Okay. Based on your examination, Dr. Osborne, are you able to tell the order of the shots that hit Gina Montalvo?
No, I can't specifically say the specific order in which they occurred.
Okay. Was the, how about hemorrhaging in the track of the wound?
All wound tracks had some degree of hemorrhage.
So there's no way you can tell, for instance, that A and D came before B and C?
The natures of B and C, if wound D is considered a defensive wound, that could have come before the more contact wounds on the body. There isn't any distinct irregularity to the entrance wound D, and afterwards exiting on E, there might be some distortion of the bullet. However, The wound A looks like a typical entrance wound without any irregularity, and wounds C and B were close through clothing, so I don't think the hand could have gotten in between those wounds.
Okay.
So D likely came before the other 3 wounds, but I can't tell you the order in which the other 3 occurred.
Okay. And how about the cause of death of Gina Montalvo?
Multiple gunshot wounds.
Okay. I'm showing you State's Exhibit Mark 419.
Those are the fragments collected for from the back muscles associated with gunshot wound B to the chest.
Okay. And State's Exhibit 420.
And that was a deformed bullet fragment that was collected from her hair.
Okay. And State's Exhibit 421.
That is the separate jacket and core of the bullet that went through the abdomen.
Okay. All right, Dr. Osborne, thank you. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Thanks for any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. You're excused.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I have some more questions.
Okay.
I don't know. Dr. Osborne, I'd like to now show you State's Exhibit 22I, 22H, 22G, and 22F. And ask you, Dr. Osborne, if you're good enough to again look at these exhibits. See if you recognize.
Yes.
Okay. What are they?
They're the photographs from the autopsy of Miss Jamie Gutenberg.
Did you perform the autopsy on Jamie Gutenberg?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And would those photographs assist you in explaining to the court and to the jury the nature of Jamie Gutenberg's wounds?
Yes, they would.
And would those photographs aid you in explaining to the court and to the jury the manner and cause of death of Jamie Gutenberg?
Yes.
Okay, Your Honor, just tell me what those exhibits read into the record, please, Your Honor.
Is there any objection?
This may object on all grounds outlined in D and MIL 12.
Okay, over the defense objection, State's Exhibit 22F, like Frank, will be received as 422. 22G will be received as 423. 22H will be received as 424. And 22I will be received as 425.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Dr. Osborne, while the clerk is marking those exhibits. Could you tell us the age, height, and weight of Jamie Guttenberg, please?
She was 14 years old, weighed 104 pounds, and was 64 inches tall.
And showing you State's Exhibit 114. Do you recognize her?
Yes, that is Miss Guttenberg.
Okay, Doctor, I'm going to show you now State's Exhibit 422. And you have that wound labeled A.
Yes, this is the entrance wound on the left side of the back of the left shoulder.
And could you tell us about the wound track?
This wound tract goes through the back muscles, fractures the left first and second ribs posteriorly, enters the left chest cavity, perforates the upper lobe of the left lung, perforates the body of the seventh cervical vertebrae, and exits the base of the right side of the neck at wound B.
Okay. And showing you State's Exhibit 423.
So this is the base of the right side of the neck. This is wound B here with associated abrasions along the clavicular area.
And B is the exit wound of A, correct?
Correct.
And what damage
The photo
did...
is not showing anymore.
Pardon?
The photo is not showing. Oh, now it is. It went off for a second.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you did that on purpose.
No, I didn't do anything.
Okay.
No.
Was it off?
It went off for a second, yes.
Okay. Do it again, please, Doctor. B is the exit wound for A?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and could you describe, the damage that wound, that bullet caused?
It fractured the left first and second ribs, disrupting the normal spatial atmosphere of the left chest cavity, making it difficult to breathe. It also injured the upper lobe of the left lung, causing compromise of the ability to do gas exchange and use that portion of the lung. Additionally, there was 300 milliliters of blood that was present at autopsy in the left chest cavity that could likely compromised the expansion of the left lung that led to death.
Okay, and what was the cause of death of Jamie Guttenberg?
Gunshot wound of neck and torso.
Okay, and why?
As I explained, her ability to use her left lung was severely compromised by the entry of the gunshot wound and the path it took crossing through the left chest cavity, as well as the injury to the spinal cord as it fractured the seventh cervical vertebrae, severing the spinal cord at that level. That would effectively lead her to not be able to use any bodily function or have a purposeful movement lower than that level. And additionally, that would also affect her respirations.
Okay. All right, thank you, Dr. Osmond. Your Honor, now I have no further questions of Dr. Osmond.
Thank you so much.
That's what we have for today.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I guess this is going to be another early day for you. We're going to recess until tomorrow. Please do not discuss the case among yourselves. Please do not discuss the case with anyone at all at home, here, in the courthouse, or on your way to your cars. If anyone tries to discuss the case with you, please tell them that you are on the jury. Please leave the person at once, and please report the matter immediately. Other than that, please leave your notepads on your chairs, And have a nice afternoon, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you for your patience.